Okay, so today we're going to talk about Recreators, which is a series that is airing right now, actually. I have watched up to the very latest episode, which I think is about 18 or so, and I have been giving it some thought, not because it's the greatest anime, but because, it has flaws that are interesting to talk about. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad anime. I think it's good, but it just could be so much better. So, let's talk about why that might be. Now, the basic premise of this anime is that characters from various fictional animes, not actual animes, are coming to life and they are entering the quote-unquote real world and confronting their creators and having big fights in the world as well at the same time. So it's that kind of sort of fictional characters break into the real world sort of story. It's not innovative, but it's fun, and when it finally gets down to the fights, it can be fairly entertaining. At least I've found it to be so far. The characters, you've got Celestia, who is based on any red-headed Sundra character. You've got Yuya, the RPG boss with vague homoerotic undertones with the main character. You've got Meteora, who is the exposition character. And you've got Alisteria, who's, Saber. That sort of thing. It's fun, it's harmless, and it could be a lot better. And the reason it could be a lot better is because it takes itself terribly, terribly seriously. The anime will go off on these long, long tangents about the relationship between the creations and the creator, right? You've got scenes like this where, here's Celestia talking to her creator about the terrible tragedies that she's suffered in her own world, and it's oh so emotional and oh so deep and everything like that. Except that, this is not a setting that deserves that kind of serious treatment, right? You can't really take it very seriously when you have an anime that is essentially about characters based loosely on popular tropes coming to life, right? You can't have like that being taken terribly seriously. So when you have these overdramatic scenes where, these characters are pondering the meaning of life and what it is to be the creation of someone else, it really falls flat. It just doesn't work. The idea that this anime is based on is fundamentally silly, right? And I think that's okay. It's okay to be silly. But when the anime, quite frankly, shoves its head so far up its own butt, it just falls apart. It doesn't work, right? And yet the result is a pacing that is just all over the place. It's a mess. You have so many episodes that are just a plain old waste of time, where about 70% of the dialogue could probably be cut out and nothing would be lost. And that's a real shame, because if they took it in a different direction, this could be probably the best anime of the season. Right? If they were to, instead of focusing on the stupid misgivings of these cliche characters, they tried to have fun with their setting, it would have been magnificent. And I can prove that by pointing at the funniest and best episode of the series, which, funnily enough, is the clip episode. The clip episode had these sets of lines about the antagonist, who is Altair. Altair is this character who's not an actual character from an anime, but rather a picture that someone drew on an art site like DeviantArt or Pixiv. So she points out that, her uniform is incredibly over-designed, her hair is ridiculous, right? And she basically just highlighted all the flaws in this character design. She looks good, but it's clearly the product of a beginner artist who had a lot of time to work on Altair's outfit and hair, etc., etc. Didn't have to think about things like animation budgets and all of that good stuff. So that I thought was really smart writing, and it's bizarre that you only find it in the clip episode, as if it's sort of was inserted in there without the knowledge of the higher-ups. Which is a shame, because if there were more of that, this anime would be the anime of the season. Thanks for listening.